So John Lewis was someone who always got into good trouble. But how did he influence you?
So I knew about him growing up because he's from Alabama.
Right.
And Alabama, like, we export a lot of talent, clearly to Atlanta. And
think about it. Just think about it. You had Coretta Scott King.
From Alabama. Yes.
You had Jean Childs Young
Yes.
from Alabama. There's
Yes.
something in the water over there.
We all get on
you.
I-20. But I'd already always read about him and heard about him, and then like just because growing up close to Tuskegee and close to Montgomery, you hear about the civil rights movement, and Alabama history and Black history is so interconnected, and Black history is American history. And growing up in the South, it is something that we learned about a lot. And so then when I got here, being involved in like the Young Democrats and like, I'm like, he's my congressman and he gets to represent me. He was in that Who's Who in Black Atlanta book. And so I like had looked at all of the things that he had done since he got to Congress. And then I met this guy who was working for him. And so on the weekends, I would show up to volunteer for every event that Congressman Lewis had. And Congressman Lewis sometimes my husband would say, I think he likes you more than he likes me, because he would include me in things, and like I was on his staff, and I never worked for him, but did a lot of events and a lot of work for him without being paid to work for him.
Got it.
And just got to know him on a personal level, and just the way that he showed up for his people, the way that he always made time for people. I remember when I got sworn into the state Senate, I didn't even invite Mr. Lewis to my swearing in. It was a special election, and he had votes, and Mr. Lewis didn't miss votes for anything. If he had votes in D.C., he was going to be there. That's one thing that I take away from now. I remind my staff, they'll be like, well, you could go to this because it's not an important vote. Every vote is important. I was sent to Washington to vote for my people, and I need to be there for votes. That is my job, and so I don't miss votes. And I take that from him. But the day that he showed up at the state capitol for my swearing in, and I had not even invited him because I didn't want to burden him with knowing that he wasn't going to miss votes, but he flew in that evening on a flight and flew right back out the same day. I looked up from the front of the chamber, and he was sitting on the front row just to watch me get sworn in. He didn't stay for the reception. He took a couple of pictures, told me he was proud of me, went right back to the airport and flew back to D.C. for votes the next day.
What a
just
compliment.
to be there.
What a compliment to you, my dear.